It Ends With Us has got to be one of the most talked about books of the last few years, and the film of it has just dropped, starring none other than the Blake Lively. Now, the book has proved to be as controversial as it is viral, but don't worry, we are going to let you know if it's worth it. Welcome to Bookmarked, where we find and review some of the best books about life. So first up, I guess in essence it's a love story, but as the book progresses it focuses less on romance and more on self-love. Now, just a warning, it does cover some pretty heavy topics, including domestic and sexual abuse. And it essentially tells the story of Lily Bloom, who is played by Blake Lively in the film, who grew up in a kind of unsafe and emotionally unreliable home. She then grows up and finds her own way in the world and makes her dream of opening her own flower shop come true. But she has to learn some pretty hard lessons about breaking some pretty difficult cycles along the way, and about how the line between a very passionate relationship and a very toxic one is a very thin but a very important one. So the book kind of travels between real time and diary entries from Lily's childhood, and it follows her as she moves to Boston and she meets a neurosurgeon called Ryle, and they pretty much fall in love straight away. And then an old acquaintance of Lily's, Atlas, comes back into her life, and Ryle is not happy about his presence, and his temper and his kind of anger issues begin to spiral out of control, which leaves Lily with a very difficult decision to make, especially after a super big plot twist, which I won't spoil for you. If you're enjoying this book so far, you need to add You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry to your list. So although it deals with romance like It Ends With Us, it does it in a much lighter and more kind of fun way. It essentially tells the story of Poppy and Alex, who are best friends, and every year they go on holiday together, and then on their 12th year of going on holiday, you guessed it, they realise that maybe they might be more than friends. It's funny and it's cute and it is steamy. But if podcasts are more your thing, you need to listen to Millennial Love, which is hosted by Olivia Petter. It basically navigates dating and relationships and romance in the modern landscape, and it looks at everything from the good, the bad and the very funny. And it even features guests such as Elizabeth Day, who is an amazing writer who writes a lot about love, and the iconic Maya Jama. Now back to It Ends With Us. Lily is such a lovable character who you really do find yourself rooting for. Anyway, so she falls for Ryle, who is utterly perfect. So perfect, in fact, that it kind of leaves you with that uneasy feeling in your stomach, like something bad is about to happen. And of course, it is. So Ryle actually turns out to be abusive towards Lily, and to begin with she kind of keeps making excuses for his behaviour, and Colleen writes so well that you kind of find yourself feeling sorry for Ryle and making excuses for him, which is obviously of course what his character wants you to do and what Colleen wants you to do. It shows just how confusing and emotionally manipulative these situations can be for the victim, and it makes such an incredibly strong statement. But then a pretty major surprise, which I won't spoil for you, basically makes Lily realise that she needs to make a choice here. It's incredibly well done, and all of the characters, including Lily's best friend who comes into her life during the book, are so well written, and they're given just the right amount of kind of story time. Another thing about this book is there are no good stopping points. So you know, usually there's a point in the book where kind of things kind of dull down a bit, there's a bit of a lull, you feel like you can fold the page over and go to sleep. There is none of that in this book, which means that you will fly through it. Just a warning, this book is hugely emotional and you probably will cry whilst reading it, but you will also smile and you will also laugh out loud at points. It's quite the emotional roller coaster, and the messaging of this book, as well as the last line, will really leave its impact on you, and you'll realise that Lily isn't just the main character of this book, she's actually a hero. I do really think though that you need to read the book before you watch the film, but if it's too late, you've already watched the film, please do make sure that you go and read the book because it's incredible and there are just so many layers to it. What should we review next though? Join us for the next episode of Bookmarked.